So welcome to our Zoom service and the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Easton. It's wonderful to see so many of you joining us here today. It's wonderful to be together in worship, even when we are not together physically in the building. I am Emily Cranwell, our service leader today, a member of the congregation for a number of years. With no other special expertise. And I thank the many in our congregation who are doing the work to keep us connected online and caring for our building while we are away from it. Our words of welcome this morning come from Marilyn Falkowski. We welcome you. We know you come here for different reasons, to find community, to seek your spiritual and personal truths, to question, to nurture your heart and soul, to be nurtured, to explore new ideas, to find comfort, and perhaps to find the answers to some of your bigger questions. We welcome you. We know you come here from different places, different religions, different beliefs, and different backgrounds. We hope you will find comfort, connection, challenge, and love here. We hope you will find ways to provide outreach to others in our fellowship, in our local community, and in our world community. And in the tradition of our congregation, I will also light our chalice in the spirit of joining our community with the many other religious communities worldwide who are lighting candles in honor of Diwali, a holiday that symbolizes the spiritual victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. Our chalice lighting words are from Laura Thompson. Across the distance, the light from within me shines, sending love to all. Across the distance, your light is fuel that warms me and helps to keep my own light burning. Together, we keep the flame of community burning bright. One other tradition of our congregation is the sharing of our joys and sorrows. I have one concern to share with you today, and I'll open the floor to others. And if you have a joy or concern that you would like to share, please feel free to unmute yourself and share, or to type it into the chat. The first words of concern I'll express this morning are for Ed Schmidt. He fell on Monday at home and was taken to the emergency room. He had surgery, gallbladder surgery, and maybe some other surgery on Wednesday. His kids are in town, but as of Friday, he was out of ICU and doing better. But if we can keep him in our thoughts, and his family. Are there others who would like to share? Nancy?
Okay, sorry. Some of you know that I had two grandsons who had COVID last week, the week before, and one was seriously ill but found out he had diabetes. I just want to say that I'm so joyful and happy that they're both doing well. And thank you for your love and support.
Thank you. Are there others? I'm scanning the crowd.
Emily, I have a concern. This is Christina.
Go ahead.
I'd like to voice my concern that I know is shared by many about what our country is going through and trying to work through right now. And there's so many words to say that I can't uh, put together well and eloquently right now. Just want to express that concern that somehow our society can come together and find a way to move forward as a society that cares for one another and is committed to building a better future as a country, hopefully.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no others this morning, then I will light a candle here as I ask you to please hold in your heart all the joys and sorrows that we've heard and those still held in the sanctuary of our hearts. Thank you. One of the ways that we show our care and compassion as a congregation is through a monthly outreach collection where we pass our plate for a local organization in our community. And so I'm going to invite at this time Jim Richardson and Charlene DeShields, I believe are who is speaking first, to unmute themselves and speak now about our November collection and how we as a congregation can give.
Good morning. I was just putting on my clean shirt for Sunday service here. I felt like I was running through the front door, as many UUFE members do, coming in at the last minute. But it's nice to see everybody's faces. I'm happy to report we have 3 guests today to our service. 2 are representatives of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Charlene DeShields, and Dr. Holloway. We also are privileged to have Sincere Taylor, who is a recipient this year of the scholarship. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Charlene DeShields, and she can let us know a little bit about her and her organization. Thank you.
Good morning, UUFE friends. Good morning, buenos dias. It's good to see everyone. Good to see you, Christina and Nancy and Ann, some of my friends who I'd seen. And tell Lauren I said hello to Christina. We miss her at school. So I am Charlene DeShields, and I am the president of Kappa Theta Omega, chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. We're located right here in Easton. We are very active in the community, and we give our service is what we do. Our chapter was 35 years old on October the 26th. So we are celebrating our anniversary and hope to do a virtual event soon in 2021. But it's always good. I'm so sorry that we're not here face to face, because we always enjoy coming to your fellowship service on Sunday. But we're here anyway, virtually. That's the way we're all moving. But we want to continue the relationship with UUEF, and we just enjoy and we appreciate all that you've done. Pastor Sue, hello. Tell her we said hi anyway also. But right now, I would like to introduce our scholarship chairman, Dr. Yolanda Holloway, and she will speak and tell you a little bit about our foundation. And then we have with us Sincere Taylor, who is the recipient, and she is working virtually, but I think she'll tell you a little bit. I think she's on campus. She's at Stevenson University. So thank you, everyone. God bless you. Continue to keep hope up for the community, for the children, and for yourself. Dr. Holloway?
Good morning, everyone. I feel like this is my life, so now I'm just used to being on Zoom. Again, we are very, very happy to be with you today, and we always are excited about attending the service with UUFE. So again, thank you and good morning. While Ms. DeShields spoke about Kappa Theta Omega chapter, I just wanted to go into a little bit about our charitable arm, which is the Pearls of the Eastern Shore Foundation. So you may see that on some of the activities that we will advertise around the service area. So if you see Pearls of the Eastern Shore Foundation, or POES, that's us. But the purpose of Pearls of the Eastern Shore Foundation is to make substantial contributions to Talbot, Dorchester, Caroline, Queen Anne's, and Kent counties through our community programs, our educational scholarships, and our service activities, while we address issues related to education, social justice, human rights, health, poverty, economic security, and environmental sustainability directly affecting this community, and we hope all mankind. So that's been the broad focus of our Pearls of the Eastern Shore Foundation. Today we have one of our 5 scholarship recipients here with us. We do offer 5 scholarships every year, and they're open to students in each of the 5 midshore counties. And our recipient of what we call our UUFE KTO Barbara DeShields Jeffrey Scholarship is Miss Sincere Taylor, who's here. So with that being said, I want to give her the time to shine today. So thank you all.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I was just going to talk a little bit about my college experience and give you guys an idea of what that's like. So I pretty much have classes 5 days a week. I have 9 classes, which is pretty strange. A lot of my classmates only have 4 or 5. So I have 9, almost double. But I only have 2 in person, and I'm doing really well with all my classes. Yeah, they're not too difficult. A lot of them are pretty easy. It's just a lot of work. I also play softball for Stevenson. So I have practice Fridays and Saturdays. And then after Saturdays, I come home every weekend to see my family. With COVID, it's pretty difficult because when we practice, we have to wear a mask, and during the weekdays, we go to the gym and lift and have to wear a mask like while we're working out, so it can be a little tiring. And from some of my classes that are in person, the ones that are in person are my labs, and they're 3 hours long, so I have to wear a mask with goggles and a bunch of equipment on to practice all of my science things. But other than that, it's been pretty great, and I've met a lot of people through softball in some of my classes, and I'm doing really well.
So once again, we want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Jim, we'll keep in touch, and we want to thank you for your donation on November the 8th. And Dr. Holloway, I guess the donation can be sent to Pearls of Eastern Shore P.O. Box, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Jim, that's P.O. Box 1643, but I'll just email you that address, okay? But we want to thank you guys. Keep joy and sorrows. I'm going to take that this week with me. Joy and sorrows. Thank you so much. We're going to hop off. Enjoy the rest of your day, and blessings to all. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Charlene and Yolanda and Sincere for sharing with us this morning. And thank you, Jim, for keeping us connected.
Can I just ask Yolanda, before you jump off, will you check the chat box and make sure that I put your address correctly in there if people want to go ahead and mail in their donation?
Yes. Pearls of Eastern Shore, P.O. Box 1643.
Easton 21601.
Yes, ma'am.
Great, thanks.
There's also a place where you can donate through UUFE on our website. You can indicate that it's for the outreach collection if you go to the UUFE website, and we'll make sure that it gets sent in, as well as if you sent a check directly to UUFE and put AKA scholarship in the subject line, that would work as well. So whatever is easiest for people. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
So today I asked for us to spend some time thinking about words and sharing words that have sustained us, perhaps over the years, perhaps over the last months. And as I thought today about words that have moved me and brought me peace over the last months, I thought about books that I had read. I consider myself an avid reader, and now that I've had a bit more free time on my hands at home, I also have an 8-year-old who will curl up beside me with his own books. And so I have found words more powerful than ever. Sometimes these words and these books are simply an escape, other times a guilty pleasure. As a teacher, sometimes they're research for the next great book that I can put into a student's hands. Often, though, the best books are the ones that move me to a deeper place of contemplation or understanding or compassion. So I asked some of you, directly or indirectly, to think about words that have provided you with some spiritual sustenance over the years, or in this year in particular, as we've tackled many of the challenges synonymous with 2020. Some of you have agreed to share already, and others are welcome to share as well as you feel moved. So I think I am just going to call on some of you who have said in advance that you're willing to share. And Rita, if you would be comfortable starting us off, can I ask for you to share first?
Yes, it took me a while to unmute. I am, about a week ago Saturday, I attended a seminar, online seminar on compassion. And part of the resources that were given to us led me to this poem by Alora M. Knight. Differences. We all come warmly from the womb as unprinted pages to be filled. brought forth upon the stage of life on which our character starts to build. Day by day and step by step, we begin to fit into a mold created by our way of life, accepting the stories we've been told. Every culture forms its shackles, binding those that live within. Boundaries set by age-old rules is where prejudice will begin. Few are those who will accept the differences of all mankind. The uniqueness making each one special is not the quest most seek to find. It sometimes seems no one remembers that we are equal, from the mighty to the small. Golden age will never come, nor will there be a lasting peace until love replaces hate. Then all differences will cease.
Lovely, thank you. Mom, Linda Wilcox, can I ask you to share next?
Well, I thought I knew how to do that. Good morning, everyone. What I'm going to read for you is an excerpt that I found in the UU World magazine in the summer of 2019. It's written by Jess Reynolds, called Conch Shell. When the world is too much to bear, leave yourself behind and go down to the shore. There may be other people around, but they won't see you. You can stand there, your body an empty conch shell, the wind whipping through the space your heart usually occupies, and breathe. You do not need to be yourself at the shore. Even the ocean is not herself at her edges, all her fierceness stretched dough-thin and fragile. It is easy to forget that the soft waves kissing your toes are but the whispered shadows of what the ocean can do in a storm. It is easy to forget who you are, too. This can be a blessing. There are parts of ourselves we do not love, do not cherish, do not honor. Sometimes for what feels like good reason. Shame and guilt and memories of harm done are all woven into the fabric of our souls. And when we stand before the sea and forget these, yes, it is a blessing. The tides slowly wear away at the ragged and scraped edges where we tore ourselves out, and what is left behind is as smooth as breath. Such is the way of water. There comes a time, of course, when you must rinse your feet one last time in the waves, gather yourself back up again, and make your way through the sand to the parking lot. The heat of the asphalt on your bare feet, the jarring sound of the car radio, the discomfort of settling yourself back into your body. These are holy too. Holy as sunshine, holy as water, holy as the moment you find that, to your great surprise, your soul fits a little more softly in your ocean-worn body. Such is the way of the sea.
Thank you. Anne, I know you said you could be held off for the end, but I feel like with Mom's summery reading, your wintry reading might be a good balance.
Well, it's in this big book of Robert Frost, and he has always been one of my very favorite poets. And I like this one because of the imagery. I guess that's what poetry is all about. But I'll read relatively slowly so you can each make your own mental picture. When I see birches bend to left and right across the lines of straighter, darker trees, I like to think of some boys been swinging them, but swinging doesn't bend them down to stay. An ice storm does that. Often you must have seen them, loaded with ice, a sunny winter morning after a rain. They click upon themselves as the breeze rises and turn many-colored. As the stir cracks and crazes their enamel, soon the sun's warmth makes them shed crystal shells, shattering and avalanching on the snow crust. Such heaps of broken glass to sweep away, you'd think the inner dome of heaven had fallen. They are dragged to the withered bracken by the load. And they seem not to break, though once they are bowed. So low for so long, they never right themselves. You may see their trunks arching in the woods, years after, trailing their leaves on the ground like girls on hands and knees that throw their hair before them over their heads to dry in the sun. But I was going to say, when truth broke in, with all her matter of fact about the ice storm, I should prefer to have some boy bend them. As he went out and in to fetch the cows, some boy too far from town to learn baseball, whose only play was what he found himself, summer or winter, and could play alone. One by one, he subdued his father's trees by writing them down over and over again until he took the stiffness out of them. And not one but hung limp. Not one was left for him to conquer. He learned all there was to learn about not launching too soon, and so not carrying the tree away, clear to the ground. He always kept his poise to the top branches, climbing carefully with the same pains you use to fill a cup up to the brim, and even above the brim. Then he flung outward, feet first with a swish, kicking his way down through the air to the ground. So was I once myself a swinger of birches, and so I dream of going back to be. It's when I'm weary of considerations and life is too much like a pathless wood, where your face burns and tickles with the cobwebs broken across it, and one eye is weeping from a twig having lashed across it open. I'd like to get away from earth a while and then come back to it and begin over. May no fate willfully misunderstand me and half grant what I wish and snatch me away, not to return. Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. I'd like to go by climbing a birch tree and climb black branches up a snow-white trunk toward heaven till the tree could bear no more, but dipped its top and set me down again. That would be good both going and coming back. One could do worse than be a swinger of birches.
That was lovely imagery to think about and picture. May I ask, Laura, are you ready to share next?
Sure. Mine is really short. I just selected 3 quotes that I have found helpful in them. Going with short because I've been having some cough past couple of days. So the first quote is from my grandmother that I'm sure all of you have heard, "This too shall pass." And it's become kind of a mantra. I grew up with my mom saying that all the time, and I would find it so annoying. But here I am later in life, totally embracing the mantra. And so that was the first quick quote. It's just something to hang on to when times are difficult. But I came across another quote recently by Michael J. Fox, who has lived with Parkinson's for about 30 years now. And it kind of goes hand in hand with "this too shall pass." His quote is, "Everything will be okay, and it might really suck." Everything will be okay, and it might really suck. So the idea of embracing the idea that all will be well, but it may not be the well you want. And I have my last one is, if you are feeling helpless, help someone. If you are feeling helpless, help someone. And that's all I got.
Thank you. That's plenty. Ideas for us to hold on to and consider. Dawn, would you like to share next?
I chose a poem that I keep in our memento case. In the room behind me here, we have a small room that we call the library. We have a small wall of bookshelves, and in the center of that is a case where we keep mementos from our family raising our kids over the last 35 years. There are graduation caps and baseball awards and plaques and things and little memorabilia. I keep a poem taped on the back wall, and once a year, just about this time, when autumn slides into winter, I take this poem off the wall and reread it. It's about memories, and it's about, in this time of COVID, it has a special meaning because it reminds me of our connection to family and how important family is, and how family, probably more than anything else, will help us through this. This is called Anniversary Sonnet. It's by Mariah Simon. Stopping to rest, we washed our hands in the river, do you remember? What are those dark fish, you asked? What happens to them will happen to us. I thought it is simple to be a man, simple to be a woman if we love what is brief, what is given to us, and clear the gloom with it. We stood up, walked back to the world. The sunset deepened the house's hush. What marvelous lives we live, you said, without saying anything at all. Our children, sunlight on the wall, on our tongues, the past, a drop of gold.
Beautiful. I know, Nancy, you also said you were willing to share this morning.
Yes. This is a poem that I love by Wendell Berry, and the title is "The Peace of Wild Things." When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free.
That's one of my favorites as well. Is there anyone else who maybe did not plan? Wonderful, Jean. I would love to hear from you. We all would, I should say. Can you unmute? Bottom left.
Okay.
Very good.
I lost you. I think maybe I replied too late for you to know I replied. But I thought I would read, I keep a collection of these things, and years ago, I neglected to write down what year, Jerry and I were fortunate enough to go hear Robert Fulghum, who is the UU minister who had that wildly best-selling book, Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. And this is sort of distilled notes from his words at that conference. Mr. Fulghum now lives in Seattle in a city neighborhood across from an elementary school. One morning as he set off to do errands, he observed a mother dropping off her elementary school age child for school. As she opened the door to let him out of the car, he heard her say, "What on earth have you done?" This set off a cascade of reminiscences and ruminations on what he calls the 4 great mother questions. And I chose this because it might not be the most inspirational, although it's very good, but it certainly is the easiest to remember because I know myself as a mother, I've said all these things, and I'm certain my mother did too. The 4 questions are, what on earth have you done? What in God's name are you doing? What will you think of next? And who do you think you are? A moment of reflection tells us the mothers are onto something. These are important theological questions for all of us. And we can think of these questions as either individuals, families, or as a congregation. What on earth have you done? What is your legacy? What have you done to this planet? What have you done for this planet? What matters for the time you've spent here? Well, what in God's name are you doing? Are you living your life in a way that is pleasing to the forces of good in the universe? If you do believe in God, are you acting in a way that would be furthering that God or goddess's purpose in the universe? What will you think of next? Where are you headed? What is your intention? Take time to actually reflect and think of what next? What is the next step in the journey that you are on? Is that the best journey for you to be continuing, or should your route and destination change? What will you think of next? And finally, who do you think you are? Maybe this should be the first question in the list. Or maybe it could be used in conjunction with every other question, as in, who do you think you are anyway? Are you a prophet or a teacher, a student, a leader, a failure, a philosopher, a worker, a life giver? Chances are we will each be all of these at some point in our lives. So I think it's a good idea to reflect on these questions that our mother and fathers asked us in exasperation, frustration, and love. What on earth have you done? What in God's name are you doing? What will you think of next? And who do you think you are?
Sounds like a pretty universal experience, at least one that I share. Thinking about those questions. Is there anyone else today who has words they would like to share? Anyone that we have missed this morning? Jim, that's right.
How do you like those big glasses? All back in now.
Yeah. Okay, are we on?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. It's been really a very great morning, to the way to start this morning. So I offer 3 short poems that I wrote this year. In fact, one, and they sort of mirror our joys and concerns a bit, because one of them is about hopelessness or sadness. The other 2, however, are about hope. So first I'll begin with the poem of sadness. It came out of driving a lot of our immigrants to courts in Baltimore, and then also to ICE in Salisbury. These drivers, many of which came from UUFE and from other churches, provided transportation to hospitals in Baltimore and to immigration in Baltimore, and also, as I said, into Salisbury. So this first poem comes out of, and I used to hate to go to Salisbury because that was always depressing, but the other experiences to Baltimore were always, I would come out home mostly uplifted. So the first poem is entitled Ice. As I sat in the cold room waiting for my passenger, I watched a young Latina woman with her child sitting across from me, wearing an ankle bracelet and worried about how long they would be able to stay and whether there was any hope left in the world or love. So we got that one over with. The second poem has to do with my job as part gardener. Martha gives me all the hard jobs to do, like digging holes and planting things, which I actually enjoy. So this is a poem entitled, Today I Dug 2 Small Holes. Today I dug 2 small holes in the yard, one for a bush and another for a tree. Some might say I'm a fool, since I'm now much too old to see what will become of them. I like to think it's just another random act of kindness. And then finally, another poem of hope entitled, There Are Some Songs. There are some songs you cannot sing or have words to remember. These are songs you hear when you walk in the woods underneath the loblollies. Songs that you may not know, but that have a melody that can make your feet want to dance and your heart want to sing.
I think we saved the best for last. We had original poetry. Thank you. All right, one final call to make sure I haven't missed anyone. Bojana?
This is a quote that has been attributed to Helen Keller, but I'm not sure she was the original person, but it's sort of something that I kind of aspired to, but can't say I succeed. I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. I will not refuse to do the something I can do. That's it.
Thank you. Sarah?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for letting me invade your Eastern Shore from the bleak Midwest out here. It's windy and cold. I hope you have a nicer temperature out there. Well, maybe this will bring some hope into what we're all living through right now. But I have gone through this or down into this rabbit hole of podcasts and YouTube videos. I'm sure like we all are trying to fill our time. And I stumbled upon this neuroscientist named Dr. Andrew Huberman, which I will put in the notes. I should say I am not a spokesperson for him. He is not paying me to say this, but he has lots of YouTube videos, and if you are on Spotify or something, you can find lots of podcasts. He's a neuroscientist who can kind of help explain what's happening in our brain during all of this stress. But the message of hope that I took for him that keeps replaying in my mind, and it's nothing formal, but he said that this pandemic is creating the most resilient generation that the world will ever see. So that gives me a little bit of hope. The pandemic will be creating the most resilient generation. So kids between like 8 and 18 still have the neuroplasticity to develop their own reward paths, and that just really gives me hope. So hopefully that will settle with all of you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Taking my final glance around, I think we've gotten to everybody. So I'm just going to share a postlude, and then I will extinguish our chalice. That was Dick Dowdy playing Mendelssohn's Song Without Words. It felt appropriate to share some music without words today to balance out all of the words that we were sharing, how music can sustain us as well as words. So I will extinguish our chalice today with the words of Amy Zucker Morgenstern, we are one. Never has it been more true than now. We extinguish this flame, but the sparks within us remain alight. From each of us and our supposed solitude, the signals buzz and hum, sparkling through space to one another, connecting us invisibly but palpably. We are one, and from every window, our light shines. Take the flame with you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. And I hope any or all of you will stay on for our informal coffee hour. Thank you all.